Hello, everyone. This is Mark, and this is the Eclectic as a podcast. And this is the first episode. So today I'll be talking about 2020 and how it's been going so far. So going into 2020, I was definitely one of those people that said this is going to be my year, just because of how 2019 ended with me acing an interview and getting a job as an assistant teacher. I started the job in January, and I felt like this was the beginning of me feeling like I actually had a more meaningful purpose in the world and not just being a cog in a machine of a basic job. So when I got to the school, everything was just going perfect. The teachers are nice, students are nice, the administration was nice, and they pretty much made it easy for me, like from the beginning. There was no super out of control kids, no teachers that made me feel like an assistant. It was literally like I was a part of the family, even though I was like a day in. So January rolled and it was just great. February rolled, no problems. And then March, I was thinking that, all right, I'm going into spring break, a paid spring break on top of that, and then I'm going to come back to school like nothing is going to happen. And then the first, I want to say, weekend of spring break, where I live got told to go into lockdown due to the coronavirus. So I'll admit I didn't think the coronavirus would at least hit here yet, just due to the fact of where the majority of the cases were being reported at, were nowhere near where I lived, not even in the same country yet. So when we went into lockdown, I definitely was kind of just looking at it as, all right, this is just going to be extra time for, spring break. I didn't think that it would go any further. And then spring break ended and we were told, yeah, just wait another week before we think about bringing y'all back to school. I was like, all right, no problem. Getting paid to stay at home. April hits and then it's like, yeah, everybody needs to stay at home. I'm like, all right, I understand. The safety of our students came first. So there was no issue. I definitely didn't have a problem. I was definitely enjoying the time off and definitely enjoying the binge watching and all the free time. But the only issue that I had was the fact that I couldn't go see anyone family wise and definitely got a little stir crazy the first 2 months. So I think the other issue I had was the fact that working from home with the job I do was kind of impossible, other than helping the teachers. And it was all through emails and Zoom calls. So I definitely felt like an assistant for once while I was doing my work. And I think the other part that was an issue was the fact that I still had to wake up and be on the computer on school time. So I was still waking up at 7:30 in the morning all the way up until June for when we were cleared to, I guess, do summer break how it usually would be. But even with my personal 2020 being in a little bit of a disarray, I'm glad to say that I'm able to be a part of and being able to see the social revolution that's currently happening. But unfortunately, it was at the cost of more lives like Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and George Floyd. And I think with those main three cases, the people of my generation and even the younger generation finally imploded because the whole method of just protesting, getting a petition signed wasn't enough anymore. And then you see situations like Minnesota and the protests and marches that are pretty much happening everywhere, and they've been going on for pretty much the past, I want to say, 3 months now. And I think with the reaction that's happened, it finally showed not just the people in power, but also us, is that we can actually do something instead of just waiting or just complaining about it and thinking it's just going to be a cop just gets a slap on the hand, suspension, a little reform training, and then it'll just blow over like nothing happened. But with these protests, that showed that that won't be the case anymore, and it's definitely won't be something that's accepted. So now it's straight accountability for the police and also the government on all levels. Because unlike the past generations, like our parents and grandparents, that had to deal with the injustice and silence, or would be lucky to have like an outlier like the Rodney King situation where it would actually be on film, the kids of my generation and the ones under me have seen a lot of injustice all on film, like the Tamar Rice shooting and a few other ones. And I think with that technology, it kind of let us see that it isn't just happening in one place. It isn't just a one bad apple type situation. It's literally happening everywhere. And some of these kids have literally grown up watching all of the injustice everywhere. So you can literally look up on YouTube and you can just see tons and tons of situations that were never properly handled. So I think that's why, again, the implosion on how this whole revolution, socially wise, has happened. And I think even with this, it's also leading us to actually look at our history, especially in America, the history that was kind of force-fed to us, which idolized historical figures that committed tons of atrocities, and also presidents that pretty much weren't fully for equality and made mistakes that affected this country all the way to today. And that's why you see, on top of protesting for the social reform, you're seeing that statues are coming down because we're finding out that some of these guys were slave owners, Klansmen, and pretty much there's no reason for this country to be idolizing them or celebrating them. And now we're even getting into handling the symbolism and all the past remnants of the Confederacy that should have been handled by the government itself, due to the fact that there's still statues of former Confederate generals, the fact that the Confederate flag is still around, and even apparel to this day is still around. It's something that is also being handled and being acknowledged to be fixed due to the current protests for reforms. And the fact that it took all the way until 2020 to get the ball rolling on something even like the Confederacy, with its history of keeping black people enslaved to the point that they were willing to cause a war, and that war which led to 620,000 people dying, which is still the highest amount when it comes to with wars dealing with Americans. So the fact that a group that should have been classified pretty much as a terrorist group is still even lingering around is definitely insane. Especially if you compare it to how Germany has handled the history of the Nazis. The fact that they pretty much minimize their existence is pretty much a dark history point where you don't see shirts or flags being waved around like it's nothing, is definitely another bad look for the United States and the government. So that's why I'm glad with the protests and the marching that we're holding everyone and everything accountable when it comes to equality. So with that, at the end, I hope that there's definitely a major change when it comes to social equality for black people and other people of color and other groups that feel that they've been oppressed due to the system that's been set by the government. And also I hope that people will start taking the coronavirus seriously, due to the fact of all the deaths and all the cases that have happened just in the 4 months that it started being recorded legitimately in the United States. Even though I'm worried about what can possibly happen next, I'm also excited to see what changes can also happen at the end with these next couple of months left over in 2020. So with that, hopefully you will enjoy this first episode, which definitely got a little deep. But at the same time though, I'll make sure that there's a different pace when it comes to the next couple episodes. Hopefully you enjoy. Hopefully you'll listen. Remember to stay safe, wear a mask, and sign petitions.